So the task for this morning is to get the alternator off, get it identified, so I can make some final decisions about what's being replaced with the charging system and actually get an order in. Here is the positive wire that was connected to the alternator. You can see that's not a very big wire. What's more interesting is that wire goes all the way back to the engine compartment and up to the amp meter on the control panel. And then it comes back down, back up through, and connects to this wire on the starter solenoid. And then of course that wire goes over to the starter battery. That's how the alternator charges the battery. The current has to go from the alternator up to the amp meter, all the way back down and through and into the battery. I think this wire was probably dangerously thin. I think probably the original alternator was like a 15 amp or something. And upgrading it to a 30 or 55 amp, which is what was in there, without upgrading that wire actually created a dangerous situation. Luckily nothing ever went wrong. But this is absolutely not going to handle 100 amps. So I could have just chopped this stuff up instead of trying to pull it. I was trying to pull it out in one piece in case it could be reused, but it turns out it's untinned copper, automotive grade. And well, that was probably, well, obviously that was the way they did things in the 70s when this boat was built. It's not up to modern construction standards. So that's going in the garbage. I usually do unboxing videos. Guess what's in the box? First of all, packing stuff, paperwork, and another box. Thank goodness, clean the box. Oh my God, there's another box inside the box inside the box. It's a temperature sensor. Well, that's important. Bolts. This is probably the brain. Next thing. Yep, that's the brain. Also really hard to get out. Surprising amount of manual. Hopefully it'll make up for the fact that I have no idea what I'm doing. Alright, this is a 100 amp computer controlled alternator. Of course it doesn't fit. Why would it fit? Here's the new alternator. You take it from that plate there, it's about 4 inches deep. Immediately that interferes with this thing, and probably this thing, and definitely this fuel line. Hopefully I can get a good angle on this to make this clear. So the alternator goes, mounts here, extends back 4 inches. This is in the way. This is something to do with fuel. Theoretically, I could rearrange those fuel lines and whatnot and move that. Looking at it from the front, here's where the alternator would mount. Here's the lower portion. Here's that fuel whatever that's in the way. There are, looks like 2 bolts. Down here, this is some kind of electrical shenanigans. I mean, that one, the silverish thing on the left is clearly the starter solenoid because there's a big cable going directly to the starter. But all these other wires go all over the place. As a result, I don't really know what's what. This piece right here is the one I need to sort out. I don't know what this is. I don't know what it would take to move it safely. It has this hose that goes back to the fuel tank, and then this hard line that comes over to what I assume is the air intake, and then this other hard line which goes back here, which I don't know where it actually goes. I can't see what the camera is seeing right now, so it might be obvious where it goes. I need to figure out if I can safely move this, maybe mount it on the wall over here, wall, bulkhead, whatever you want to call it, because that is the piece that is definitely in the way.